Welcome back. The National Football League announced this week that all players will be required to stand for the national anthem. Players who do not want to stand for the anthem will be asked to remain off the field and in the locker room. The controversial decision effectively denies players a platform for social protest and, in the minds of many, limits their free speech. Now, for his part, President Trump said the NFL is doing the right thing and went further, suggesting players who don't want to stand should leave the country.
This has nothing to do with race. I've never said anything about race. This has nothing to do with race or anything else. This has to do with respect for our country and respect for our flag.
Okay, panel, did the league cave to presidential pressure? I'm going to start with Paul Bettencourt, state senator.
They caved to fan pressure.
Yes.
The fans don't want people not standing on the field for the national anthem. That's what happened, okay? People can try to blame Trump for it, but it's the fans that have had enough, and a lot of people have turned off the set, or they've skipped over, ESPN or whoever else was broadcasting it because they were sick of it. And the fact of the matter is, finally, the NFL owners recognized the obvious, that they were losing their economic viability by driving off the American fan that has been watching the game for decades. So all they did was pull their head out of the sand.
Okay, Marcus, you've spoken forcefully on this issue in the past. Uh-oh.
This is the best they'll ever sound, Greg.
Okay, I think
this is what this does. This is an attempt to stifle freedom of speech. I have never seen so many Americans willing to go against what the Constitution guaranteed us. We talk about what our founding fathers intended, and the intent is, if in this nation you decide that you want to protest, which of you goes to your job and your boss says you have to stand up every morning at 8 a.m. and recite the Pledge of Allegiance and sing the national anthem? None of us do. And we wouldn't be okay if they did insist that we did something of the sort. Let's be honest about this. While President Trump said it's not about race, the majority of the NFL players are African Americans. Let's be honest about this.
But
wait.
And it's a national pastime.
And the majority of the players that are kneeling are African Americans. And my good friend Paul Bettencourt, I take issue with what you said. You said they're responding to their fans, and they're responding to their American fans. African Americans are American stock. No, they're not. But they're not, because I am an American. I am an African American, and as a fan of a former fan of the NFL, I did not want this to happen. So your statement about this, they're responding to fans, is inaccurate, because they did not respond to the fans who were African Americans. They responded to the almighty dollar, and what they did was say, we want to put the dollar over the issues of America. The NFL is a colossal failure. They handle this poorly. They need to hire a new PR person. I am hopeful and excited that every single NFL football player will take a knee, will not come out of the dressing room, and I am tired of this paid-for, socialized, fake patriotism.
If they don't come out of the dressing room,
hold on. Bill King has crafted some compromises in his day. Is there any compromise here?
Well, I don't know if there's a compromise or not, but this is a great demonstration of how we talk past each other in this country on these issues. Kaepernick's original protest was about the criminal justice system. And let me tell you what, we absolutely have a problem in the criminal justice system around the issue of race. And anybody who doesn't believe that hasn't spent any time around the criminal justice system. And we need to address it.
And the NFL ignored that issue.
Let him finish. What I'm saying is, that issue has completely been lost now. Nobody's even talking about that. We're now talking about whether this is about dishonoring the military. And so this is one of those situations where I don't think the protest fit the message that Kaepernick was trying. And at this point, I think it's actually become counterproductive. And so I just think from a standpoint of whether this was effective in talking about the issue which Kaepernick wanted to be talked about, which I think needs to be talked about, I think this protest is ended up backfiring.
Okay, we're going to talk more about the NFL in the next block, but I'm giving Tomaro Bell a personal privilege moment on a hot button issue. Go.
Listen, right now in the city of Houston and in the county, there are public sessions going on. Judge Ed Emmett is having his and Sylvester Turner is having it. Each got $1.5 billion from FEMA to help with Harvey recovery. GLO currently has the money. Before either of them can receive the money, they must create an action plan. In order for you to have an action plan, the federal government requires public input. These meetings are going on across town. Call your city council members, call your commissioners, and make sure your word is heard. In Canyon Gate, where they were obliterated and they're suing everybody, they were able to get an exemption. These are CDBG monies. These CDBG monies, as everyone knows, 70% of it is income-based. 30% of it is not.
Community block grants.
Community block, thank you. Development grants, that is what it is. So in Canyon Gate, you can get a waiver so that if you don't qualify under the income, you can get above it and make more and still be eligible for these funds. But if people don't get out there and give their words, they are not going to be counted. This is for people who are renting and were damaged and for people who are homeowners. It is important that you get out and come to these meetings by June 26th.
We're going to follow this issue. Okay.